I liked the symbolism here. I liked it a lot. And not even just talking about how, I mean, I interpret the bees as, you know, a symbol for mental health, but not even just that it's something that is genetic and passed down, but also speaks about the stigma of it, where um, the mother was saying, you know, don't tell anybody. Like, this is no one else's business but ours. It's our family secret, and we deal with it together, and we don't bring outsiders into it because it's shameful. And we see her, you know, trying to break this generational curse, if you will. And but her mom like gets to her before she can, and she ends up turning the friend down and keeping it to herself. And yeah, I just feel like it's so relatable and it speaks about this in such a creative way and helps you just see it from another perspective. And I really liked I really liked the angle this took.
The font on the title cards was really impeccable for the short. I really enjoyed the artistic take on this. Bees, it's this sense of nurturing versus nature. When we think of motherhood, we get this aspect of this nurturing nature, and yet we get to see the stings that are stung upon this family, so to speak. And after a bee stings something, it dies. And we often find ourselves in the situation where we've had the queen bee pass away, and therefore these people are picking up the pieces. And there's this sense of drama, there's this sense of mystery and thrill, and there's like, it reminds me of the fly episode of Breaking Bad. Something about the bug sounds existing within this entire short got under my skin and it bothered me. And you get to see this character go through all of these emotions and connecting from this moment that probably influenced her state of being in this moment of time. It looks like that there is a sense of generational trauma being exposed here as well.
I loved all the metaphors in this for generational trauma. It was very subtle. I I had to think for a while on what these bees could represent, especially being passed down through the female members of the family, the grandmother and the mother, and now our main character. The visual imagery in this of the bees and the honeycomb in the walls was really cool. I don't know how they did it, but I thought it was really effective the way you could see through the walls and see all the honeycomb and the buzzing. Um, I like that they used buzzing and bees because a lot of the times anxiety and these thoughts and this trauma feels like buzzing in your head and just something that makes it so you can't think clearly and you can't focus on anything else. It's just like always there. Instead of butterflies in your stomach, it's bees. So I liked that they used bees in this as well. The acting and the mother-daughter relationship in this was done really well. Also, I thought that their chemistry was great. It really reminded me of, being with my mom and having her comfort me. So I thought that the chemistry and the acting in this was done really well when it came to that relationship.
I think the cinematography was beautiful. And I liked how the filmmakers were smart about how they set up the story, showing her when she was much younger and kind of what happened there and going into it. It really lets you know what you're in for and that you're in for a ride and you better hang on. The music was perfect for that too, because it amped up the level of tension that they wanted in the film. I believed that they were mother and daughter. They had a really nice connection. They both were great actresses. And I thought that it was lovely. You knew that kind of something was up. And I liked what the filmmakers did with the twists in the end. It was not the twist that I was expecting. I was expecting this to go a completely different way, but I liked the twist that they added in there.
This film had a lot of fantastic attributes to it. The sound was magnificent to the point where when I first heard the bees buzzing, I had to pause the video to make sure there wasn't something buzzing around me. It almost sounded like it was right in your ear. Makes it an excellent sound mixing job to do that, to the point where you actually have to pause a film to make sure there's not bees around you. Then there's also the symbolism of them. I love films with symbolism, and it's like the bees are showing that mental illness can be passed from generation to generation, and that's what I've got, that the bees actually symbolize, that there's nothing you can do about it. It'll just follow you from generation to generation to generation. It's what it is. The bees are in this house. The things get passed on based on the way you're raised, your genetics, everything else. In this film had all that. Has some fantastic cinematography as well, and all the symbolism with the bees everywhere. It was fantastic. And it's like she's trapped in this house because when she has a chance to escape the bees and start healing, mom brings her back in, which shows it's also hard to escape what you've grown up with.
Takes time to start, but then when you start actually understanding what is going on. And I think it was very interesting to see the main character and the main character arc and what was going through, what she was going through, and what was happening in her own mind, basically, and the connection that she has with her mother. They are the only two that can see all these bees. They have bees in the head, same as happened to their to her mother's mom, so her grandmother before them, and probably the whole family. I really enjoyed the setting, but above all, the conflict for the main character, the struggles that she's feeling, and the internal conflict that she has. And if I had to say my favorite scene is when the mom start taking the bees one by one. I think that was very chilling, very scary. So overall, it was a very well done short with a great direction, but what the main praise goes to the script, because it was a script that was difficult to understand in the beginning, but once you understand it, it actually works pretty well.
I really like the opening shot with the doll and the kind of panning across the room. Yeah, and I know the bees were a symbol, a metaphor, but it took me a minute to kind of figure that out. It was kind of hard kind of to follow at first because I'm not somebody who sees symbols right away or understands what they mean, at least. But it took me a minute, and then I kind of thought, well, this is something more generational about the cycles and breaking the cycle. And she was trying to get out of the house and talk to her friend about it. But I think it was something generational that was kind of following their family, in their minds, mental health. It did take me a little bit, but it also kind of felt like it was a horror movie for a second with the bees. Like, where is this thing going to go? But very creative. And once I kind of figured out what it must be about, I thought, oh, that's different. This is really an interesting way to present that message. I thought it was very interesting. And then the credits design, I thought was really cool. I liked that a lot. So overall, I thought the production value was really good. The script was really good. The acting was good.